Hannah suggested I should move into a budget-friendly apartment since. She thought my home-based activities didn't justify me living in the family house. She had just come back from the city, set on pushing me out to take over my spot in the home I shared with my in-laws. My work-from-home lifestyle wasn't understood by my in-laws, and now, with Hannah's influence, even my husband William was plotting against me. They didn't seem to appreciate that I was the one footing the bills for the house's mortgage. The realization hit me hard. Why should I stay with people who constantly made me feel unwanted? If they were so eager for me to leave, then that's exactly what I would do. I had reached my limit of tolerance and, fueled by frustration, decided to transfer the mortgage responsibilities to them. Following my decision, I ended my marriage with William and exited the scene, unaware of the challenges they would face without me. My name is Amy. William, my husband, was 3 years my senior. Our paths crossed at work, but ours was not your usual workplace romance. William was employed by the janitorial service at my office. Life had dealt me a harsh blow, having lost both my parents in a short span. First, my father fell ill and was given a mere 5 months to live. During his care, my mother also succumbed to illness. With their passing, I was left to navigate the world alone, without siblings or parents. The loss would hit me at unexpected moments, often bringing me to tears. Despite the pain, I masked my grief with smiles, especially at work. The day William and I first truly connected, I was lost in thought by a window, trying to hide my sorrow. Although we had acknowledged each other with nods before, we had never really talked. That day, William approached and checked in on me, noticing my somber mood. Opening up to him felt surprisingly easy, perhaps because he was somewhat of a stranger then. William's empathy when he learned about my parents was a comfort. He shared his closeness with his own parents and understood my sense of loss. This exchange marked the beginning of our conversations and, eventually, our relationship outside of work. When we started dating, William introduced me to his parents. They were welcoming and understanding of my situation, offering me kindness and a place in their lives. Becoming close with William's family happened seamlessly, and without a traditional proposal, we naturally transitioned into marriage. Post-wedding, William and I found a cozy apartment close to his parents and embarked on our new life together. Recognizing the future we envisioned, which included potentially starting a family, I shifted careers to a remote role, allowing for more flexibility. Although I shared this significant change with William, it seemed he didn't fully grasp what it entailed. He knew I worked from home, but the nuances of my job were a mystery to him. Despite changing jobs, my income remained stable, so I took on the responsibility of covering our living expenses. William earned less, so we agreed he would save his earnings, aside from occasional social outings. His financial contributions were minimal, as his social life was modest and inexpensive, mostly involving outings with me or friends. William was comfortable with me managing our finances, a setup that worked well for us. Working remotely offered numerous benefits, notably the ability to share unhurried meals with William. This was a luxury I wouldn't have had at my old job. Cooking had once been a simple affair for me, but now, eager to please William, I found joy in preparing more intricate meals. Our life together was tranquil and fulfilling. However, a few years into our marriage, we faced an unexpected crisis. A devastating fire destroyed William's parental home, erasing tangible memories and possessions. Thankfully, his parents were safe, but the loss was immense. They stayed with us temporarily, a time during which I sought to uplift them, much like they had supported me through my own parents' loss. I took on additional household duties and made sure to cook comforting meals, all while managing my work. Despite our efforts to make them feel at home, William's parents were acutely aware of their dependence on us and expressed concerns about overstaying their welcome. It was clear they longed for independence and normalcy. This situation led William and I to a significant decision. We would build a new home to accommodate all of us. This idea, though never explicitly discussed before, felt right given our circumstances. Anticipating future needs, I had been saving diligently, separate from William's savings. The timing seemed perfect to use these funds towards constructing a new home. We envisioned a home that could symbolize a new beginning for his parents while honoring the past. The original home, A charming wooden structure built by my great-grandfather held many memories, but was no longer practical. Our decision to build a new house was met with joy and gratitude from William's parents, marking the start of an exciting new chapter for all of us. This collaborative effort was a testament to our family's resilience and unity in the face of adversity. As William's parents aged, their health concerns grew, leading to numerous special requests for the new house we planned to build. William, eager to ensure their comfort, proposed several additional features. This, of course, drove the cost significantly higher than we initially planned. Despite the escalating expenses, I committed to these enhancements, believing in the long-term value of our future home. Around this time, I noticed a shift in dynamics. William began to assert to his parents, Samantha and Tyler, that he was the primary force behind the house's construction. They frequently expressed their gratitude to him, overlooking my financial contributions entirely. Despite the mortgage and ownership documents bearing my name and the down payment coming from my savings, it appeared William hadn't shared these details with his parents. His continuous claims led them to pressure me into showing gratitude towards him. My contribution wasn't about seeking acknowledgement from William, Samantha, or Tyler. I contributed more financially simply because I was in a position to do so, not for gratitude. However, William's failure to correct his parents' misperceptions, coupled with his jokes about my supposed indebtedness to him, left me feeling deeply frustrated. I didn't demand William to disclose the full extent of my contributions, but I hoped he would at least stop diminishing my role. Yet, he continued, emboldened perhaps by the house construction project. To my dismay, I discovered William was spreading falsehoods about his employment, claiming to work at the prestigious company I was associated with. While he did have business interactions with the company, the way he presented his involvement was misleading. This pattern of dishonesty and exaggerated self-importance eroded my trust in him and made interactions with his parents increasingly uncomfortable, as they seemed to favor him unconditionally. I had hoped that moving into our new home would alleviate these tensions. However, the opposite occurred. Once we settled in, the underlying issues intensified. William and his parents failed to grasp the legitimacy of my remote work, misinterpreting my home-based job as leisure. Complaints about my supposed idleness became more frequent, with insinuations that I should contribute more, despite my financial support and ongoing work commitments. Their attitudes drove me to seek refuge outside our home, opting to work from cafes just to escape the constant snide remarks. This change in my work environment was a direct response to the growing discomfort and misunderstanding within my own home, highlighting the deepening divide between us. I continuously asked William to address his parents' misconceptions about my work. Although William might not fully grasp the nature of my job, it was my income that sustained our household, including his parents. All I wanted was for him to communicate this simple truth to them. However, William dismissed my concerns, suggesting I ignore their comments. Consequently, with the perception that I wasn't working, I was burdened with all the household chores, and his parents began to treat me like their personal assistant. Reaching my breaking point, I confronted them, expecting William's support in the moment of my distress. Contrarily, William rebuked me for speaking out and shockingly presented me with divorce papers as a threat to conform to their expectations. William's unprecedented anger and ultimatum left me feeling powerless, leading me to reluctantly acquiesce to their demands. Following this incident, both William and his parents became distinctly indifferent towards me, with my only respite being the time spent working on my computer, immersing myself in my job to escape the harsh reality of my home life. During this tumultuous period, Hannah, William's sister, who had been living in the city, visited to see the new house and decided to extend her stay. Almost immediately, William's parents began to air grievances about me to her, criticizing me for spending too much time isolated with my computer, insinuating I was living off their generosity without contributing. They mocked my dedication to my work, questioning its validity and jesting that I must be a nerd for being so engaged with technology, all while suggesting I did nothing meaningful. Their conversations took a more demeaning turn as they speculated about my past role, incorrectly suggesting I had been a cleaner at William's company, further fueled by William's deceitful claims about his employment. This inversion of our realities, with William positioned as a high-ranking employee and me as a menial worker, was a narrative he had crafted, leaving me isolated and discredited. When Hannah announced her decision to permanently move in after quitting her job in the apparel industry, citing a desire for a change and the allure of starting a business from our new, more luxurious home, my situation worsened. Her decision was met with enthusiasm from William and his parents, further marginalizing me in my own home. I was relegated to eating alone, preparing meals for a family that no longer included me at their table, all while juggling my work responsibilities. This arrangement persisted until Hannah's departure date, when she unexpectedly declared her intention to stay indefinitely, finding the house comfortable and seeing an opportunity to reset her career. Her announcement was celebrated by William's parents and William himself, who took pride in the praises for the house, further solidifying my position as an outsider within my own home. Despite Hannah's recent decision to stay with us permanently, there was no room specifically allocated for her. Until her announcement, she had been occupying the guest room, but her permanent residence required a more permanent solution, and our house lacked additional space. Hannah, after spending 2 weeks with us, boldly stated her expectation for me to vacate. "I'll live here, so you should leave," she declared confidently, suggesting that my home-based lifestyle didn't merit a place in such a desirable home. She insinuated I should find a less expensive living arrangement elsewhere. Samantha, aligning with Hannah, dismissed my attempts to explain the validity of my work, leaving me defenseless against their groundless judgments. The assertion that I was unproductive simply because I worked from home was a tactic used to pressure me unfairly. Frustration was mounting within me as William passively observed the unfolding drama, neither defending the truth nor correcting misconceptions. I had remained silent up to this point, mindful of William's feelings, but the situation compelled me to assert the truth openly. I informed Samantha, Tyler, and Hannah that the house was registered in my name, the mortgage payments were my responsibility, and the initial down payment was sourced from my savings without any financial contribution from William. William's reaction to my confrontation was panic, followed by defensive aggression and attempts to discredit me, further indicating his desperation to maintain a facade. Despite my clear explanations, his parents and Hannah remained unwavering in their support for him, labeling me the liar. The realization dawned on me: leaving this toxic environment might be the only way to preserve my sanity, especially since they erroneously believed William could sustain the financial burden of the household. Resolved to extricate myself from this untenable situation, I reconsidered the divorce papers William had previously brandished as a threat. The prospect of transferring the house's title to William initially seemed to please him immensely, as he likely envisioned gaining full ownership without understanding the accompanying responsibilities. However, the process of changing the mortgage into his name revealed William's aversion to the complexities involved. He naively thought it was a mere matter of signing his name, unaware of the legal and financial implications. Reluctantly, I accompanied a clueless William to the bank and a legal advisor for the necessary consultations. Throughout, William's attention was fixated on his smartphone, showing interest only when it came time to sign the documents, eagerly inquiring if this would officially transfer the house into his name. Upon my confirmation, he signed with enthusiasm, oblivious to the realities of his new obligations. Once the legal procedures were finalized, the house, along with its mortgage responsibilities, would indeed be transferred to William. I had painstakingly explained the situation multiple times, yet it seemed only the full weight of his new role as the sole proprietor would reveal the true extent of his misconceptions and the financial obligations he had underestimated. I couldn't help but marvel at William's reaction. Even after transferring the house and mortgage into his name and proceeding with the divorce, he jubilantly shared the news with Samantha, Hannah, and Tyler. It baffled me how they could still entertain the notion that William was employed by a prestigious company while viewing me as jobless. Observing this, I was struck by disbelief and a sense of liberation, knowing my next steps were clear. Following the transfer, William planned a trip to celebrate the divorce, instructing me to vacate the house during their absence. They embarked on a lavish trip abroad, expecting me to disappear quietly. Instead, I took decisive action during those 12 days. I sold all the furniture and appliances I had brought into our shared home and packed my personal items, simultaneously finalizing the sale of a luxurious condo on the top floor of a high-rise building, a place I had stumbled upon, seemingly waiting for me, priced at around $8 million. The timing felt serendipitous, and I seized the opportunity to make it mine. The 3 years spent in turmoil with William's family had been taxing, but the prospect of starting anew in my condo filled me with excitement. Unbeknownst to them, I had a substantial inheritance from my parents, which I had wisely invested over the years. These investments flourished, significantly increasing my wealth. I had once dreamt of sharing this fortune with William and retiring early together, but I kept this secret, a decision I now regarded as fortuitous. Their disregard for financial prudence had been a painful lesson, reinforcing my choice to keep my assets hidden. Moving to the condo allowed me to design a living space that truly reflected my tastes, free from the influence and criticism of William and his family. This new home became my sanctuary, where I could work in peace, surrounded by objects and memories I cherished. With no one to undermine my lifestyle, I looked forward to exploring new hobbies, like joining a cooking class or yoga studio, and embracing a tranquil life. The call from William came unexpectedly upon their return, his voice filled with shock and indignation upon discovering the absence of the furniture and appliances. He demanded their return, not understanding that every item was purchased with my money, thus within my right to sell or move as I saw fit. I felt no obligation to leave behind any part of my life with them, not wanting to retain any ties to a household that had brought me so much distress. Now, in my new condo, I was truly free, ready to enjoy a life of peace and fulfillment, far removed from the turmoil of the past. When I informed William that the items were already sold, he persisted, demanding I repurchase them. I countered, suggesting that someone with a job at a major corporation like him should have no trouble buying new ones. With that, I ended the call, ignoring his subsequent attempts to contact me. Time moved on, and 2 months after William and his family's return from their celebratory trip abroad, I had fully embraced my new life, forming friendships with my neighbors and enjoying various activities, such as cooking classes recommended by a friend living just below my condo. One day, as I returned from a class, William called. Curious yet cautious, I answered, wondering if there was a lingering issue with the paperwork. William's voice, filled with panic and confusion, echoed the chaos of their return. He was upset over discovering the monthly loan repayment amount of $6,100. Confounded, he questioned why the loan wasn't settled, not comprehending the financial responsibilities that now lay with him despite the bank's thorough explanation, which he had ignored. William's disbelief that the mortgage wasn't paid off revealed his lack of attention during the transfer process. I vividly remembered sitting beside him, observing his disinterest. Now, he frantically sought a way out of his new obligations, but it was too late. He had already signed the mortgage over to his name. William's realization that he was solely responsible for the loan repayments marked a turning point. His assumption that I would be struggling post-divorce was baseless. I had managed our finances throughout our marriage, ensuring a comfortable life for both of us. Reflecting on the past 5 months, I pondered over William's lifestyle with his family, likely living beyond their means under Hannah's influence, until the reality of the mortgage hit them. William's predicament seemed distant to me now, as if belonging to a stranger. Indifferent to their financial woes, I took a moment to enlighten William about my current situation, living comfortably in a luxurious condo, thanks to my successful investments. His silence on the phone was telling, and after that revelation, his calls ceased, leading me to believe he had somehow coped with his situation. Unexpectedly, William reached out again, reigniting a connection I thought had been severed. Despite our history, his re-emergence was met with a sense of detachment on my part, as our lives had diverged significantly since the divorce. My focus remained on my newfound independence and tranquility, far removed from the complexities and turmoil of my previous life with William and his family. When William reached out again, I couldn't help but wonder what urgent matter had prompted his call this time. It turned out to be a crisis. Their house was in the process of being seized. In the background, I could hear the anxious voices of his family, Samantha, Tyler, and Hannah, all in a state of desperation. William, in a voice filled with panic, pleaded for my help. An enforcement officer was at their doorstep, explaining that the house was set for auction, and they were on the verge of eviction. William seemed genuinely surprised when I inquired about warning letters, suggesting they hadn't received any. However, upon further questioning, he sheepishly admitted that such letters might have been overlooked intentionally, having arrived and been opened without any action taken. Each family member, it seemed, had assumed someone else was managing the loan repayments. As the reality of their situation sank in, with a foreclosure looming and the full loan amount demanded immediately, I couldn't help expressing my frustration at William's apparent hopelessness. I suggested pooling their savings as a potential solution, only to be met with the bleak reality that such an option was off the table. Samantha and Tyler had depleted their savings on lavish travels, banking on the future support of their son, who they believed was thriving professionally. Hannah, on the other hand, had not left her job by choice but was fired for embezzling funds, a far cry from the successful city life she claimed to have led. The financial facade they maintained crumbled, revealing a dire situation. William had exhausted his savings, living under the pretense of a lucrative job, while his family indulged in extravagance, all under the false assumption that their financial stability was secured. The accumulation of these poor decisions led to the inevitable seizure of their home. In the midst of this chaos, William made a desperate proposition: for all of us to live together in my luxury condo, as if our divorce had not severed our legal and emotional ties. My response was firm and unequivocal: I refused. Our divorce marked the end of our shared paths, and my new life in the condo was a sanctuary built from my independence and success, far removed from the turmoil and deceit that had characterized our marriage. As the saga unfolded, my resolve hardened, especially after hearing my ex-in-laws, Samantha, Tyler, and Hannah, lambasting me with insults in the background of the call with my ex-husband, William. Their words, ranging from calling me heartless to a scammer and a thief, only solidified my decision. Their bitterness and blame-shifting, a direct consequence of their own decisions and actions, showed no signs of self-reflection or remorse. Eventually, their argument turned inward, spiraling into a cacophony of blame among themselves. It was at this moment I chose to sever all ties, quietly ending the call and ensuring no further contact by blocking William's number. A few days later, a newspaper headline caught my eye, detailing a father-son altercation that escalated to the point of police intervention, immediately raising suspicions about William and his father. Confirmation came through a mutual acquaintance, revealing the dispute did indeed involve William and his family, stemming from tensions that boiled over after my last conversation with them. The altercation led to their arrest and minor injuries for all involved, alongside a police warning. This incident not only bruised their physical well-being, but also William's professional reputation, as rumors of the fight spread through his workplace, leaving him in a precarious position. Following the fight, the house was sold, and the family relocated to a dilapidated apartment, a stark contrast to their previous living conditions. Their new life, marred by infestations and neighborly complaints, marked a significant downgrade. Hannah's history of embezzlement further complicated their attempts to stabilize, making it nearly impossible for her to secure employment. Thus, the family's financial burden fell solely on William, who, despite his efforts to locate me, found his inquiries fruitless thanks to the discretion of our mutual friends and the vigilance of my condo's concierge service. This chapter of my life, filled with turmoil and strife, felt conclusively closed as I embraced my new existence in the luxury condo. Far removed from the chaos, my days were now filled with hobbies, work, and the peaceful solitude of single life. The decision to move forward, unencumbered by the past or thoughts of marriage, was not just a choice but a declaration of my newfound independence and contentment.